On the morning of my child's birthday party, we woke up to find our bounce house slashed to pieces, our tables smashed, and a pile of rotten eggs smeared across our fence. I stood there in shock, clutching a tray of cupcakes as tears fell down my cheeks. The only clue? A handwritten note taped to the front door. This is what happens when you don't invite the important people. I later found out my neighbor had been watching our preparations for weeks, furious we hadn't given his kids VIP invites. I live in Cedar Falls, Iowa. It's a calm little city. People smile at the grocery store, kids ride bikes till sunset, neighbors wave from across the street. At least, that's what I thought before this happened. Last Saturday was supposed to be one of the best days of my life. My daughter, Lily, was turning 5. She had been counting down for weeks. Every day she'd wake up and ask, "How many more sleeps, Daddy?" We went all out. We rented a bright rainbow bounce house, set up tables with pink and purple tablecloths, bought balloons, and I stayed up until 2 a.m. decorating cupcakes with little unicorn toppers. I woke up early that morning to finish the last touches. Lily was still asleep. I made coffee, stepped outside with my tray of cupcakes, and stopped dead. My heart just sank. The bounce house was slashed to shreds. Dozens of deep, violent cuts like someone had attacked it with a knife. Our party tables were overturned, legs snapped off, chairs broken and tossed around like garbage. Smeared across our white fence were rotten eggs. The stench hit me immediately. The fence I had painted myself was covered in yellow slime and shells. And taped to the front door, in big, messy black marker, was a single sheet of paper. This is what happens when you don't invite the important people. I stood there shaking, cupcakes trembling in my hands. I couldn't even cry at first. I was in shock. My stomach turned. My mind raced. Who would do this? Why? I thought of Lily. I had to clean it up before she saw. My wife, Heather, came outside and gasped. "Oh my God, what the hell?" I whispered. "Get Lily. Keep her inside." I called the police. They came, took photos, wrote a report. "You got any enemies?" the officer asked, looking around our quiet neighborhood. I didn't know what to say. We're friendly with everyone. We wave, we chat at the mailbox. Nobody had ever been nasty to our face. Except Greg. Greg moved in last year with his 2 boys. They were a handful. Always yelling, always breaking stuff. From day one, Greg had been a problem. He complained about the way I mowed my lawn. He accused my wife of blocking his driveway when she parked legally on the street. Once, when we had a barbecue with a few friends, he stood in his yard and stared at us the whole time. Didn't even try to hide it. When we sent out Lily's party invites, we kept it small. Only Lily's classmates and cousins. We didn't invite Greg's kids. Lily didn't even know them. A few days before the party, Greg made a snide comment when I was putting up balloons. "Guess we're not good enough to be invited to that party, huh?" I shrugged it off. I wasn't going to engage. Now I wished I had. I told the officer. I think it was Greg. But there were no cameras, no proof. Nothing they could act on. I wasn't going to let this go. I wasn't going to let my daughter's birthday get destroyed and do nothing. First, I bought security cameras. I installed them high on the corners of the house and garage. They covered the yard, the driveway, even Greg's side of the property line. I started paying attention. I logged Greg's behavior. His truck came and went at odd hours. His boys had screaming matches with him late into the night. One day I caught him muttering under his breath while staring at our yard. I recorded everything. I even caught him on audio talking to another neighbor, saying, "Those snobs think they're too good for me. They're gonna learn." My hands shook when I saved that file. 2 weeks later I walked straight to Greg's porch. He opened the door, looking annoyed. "What?" I stared him down and calmly handed him a folder. "I know what you did." Inside was the police report, photos of the damage, my logs, screenshots from the camera system, and the audio file on a USB stick. I have more. If anything like this happens again, I will go to the police, the HOA, and the city. They will prosecute you for vandalism and harassment. This is your warning." His face changed. That smug attitude slipped for just a second. His jaw tightened. He sneered. "You don't have proof I did anything." I stepped closer. "Not yet. But if anything happens again, I will get proof. And I will ruin you." He slammed the door in my face. I walked back to my house feeling my pulse in my ears. I wasn't done. Greg was a control freak. He thrived on people fearing him or ignoring him. So I started cutting him out completely. We planned a neighborhood cookout. Everyone was invited, except Greg and his boys. Word got around about what he said and did. People started to avoid him. The families he used to chat with at the park crossed the street when they saw him coming. I knew he hated the isolation. I took it one step further. I reported small but real code violations on his property. Peeling paint. Junk left in the yard. Broken gutters. I never lied. I never exaggerated. But I reported it all. The city sent inspectors. He got slapped with citations and fines. His temper was legendary. I heard him yelling from my window more than once. The control Greg had enjoyed was slipping fast. That's where I am now. Greg still lives next door. He avoids me. I see the hate in his eyes when we cross paths taking out the trash. But I know this isn't over. Not yet. About a week after my confrontation with Greg, I started noticing weird things. It was small at first. My garbage cans knocked over at night, even when there wasn't wind. My mailbox bent like someone had yanked on it. My wife's car tires, someone let the air out twice. No real proof. But I knew. I told Heather. He's testing us. He thinks he can scare us into backing down. She grabbed my hand and whispered, "We're not backing down." The cameras caught some of it, but never his face. A dark figure, always hooded or wearing a ball cap, lurking near our yard at 2 or 3 a.m. Once I saw him staring right into the camera. The next morning, the wires to one of the cameras were cut. I replaced it the same day and added 2 more. The neighborhood started catching on too. Greg's kids got into a screaming match with a neighbor's child. Greg's dog, a big, aggressive-looking Rottweiler, got out and cornered a woman walking her poodle. The police were called. Animal control got involved. Greg was fined again. At the next HOA meeting, Greg showed up red-faced and loud. He pointed straight at me across the room. "You think you're better than me? You're poisoning the whole street against me. You're gonna regret this." I stayed seated and calm. I just want a safe neighborhood for my family, Greg. The board voted to issue him a final written warning for community disruption. I thought maybe that would cool him off. I was wrong. Last night was the worst. I woke up to my security system alert on my phone, motion detected backyard. I rushed to the window and froze. Flames. My shed was on fire. I called 911 immediately. I grabbed the garden hose and ran outside barefoot. Heather was screaming for me to come back, but I couldn't let it spread to the house. The fire department showed up within minutes and put it out, but the shed was a total loss. Tools, bikes, camping gear, holiday decorations, gone. The fire chief pulled me aside. "Looks like an accelerant was used." The police started an arson investigation. I knew. I just knew. Greg stood on his porch that night, arms crossed, watching the flashing lights and the smoke curling into the sky. Not even pretending to look concerned. I called my lawyer the next day. I filed for a restraining order. I handed over every video, photo, audio clip, and police report I had. The officer I spoke to this time finally said what I'd been waiting to hear. "We're going to bring him in for questioning." That's where things stand right now. The damage is done, but I'm not done. Greg tried to destroy my daughter's happiness. He tried to scare me off. Now I'm going to make sure he answers for everything. They brought Greg in the next day. I heard from the officer that he stayed cocky at first. Denied everything. Claimed I was harassing him. That I had the whole street brainwashed. But the police had my evidence. They matched footprints from the fire scene to boots found in Greg's garage. They traced a lighter found near my shed to a brand Greg always carried. They even found traces of accelerant in his truck. It was enough. They arrested him for arson, vandalism, harassment, and animal control violations. His mugshot hit the local news. I won't lie. When I saw his face, beaten down and shocked, I smiled. But I wasn't perfect in this either. The investigator questioned some of my HOE reports. They said I walked the line of harassment myself. My lawyer warned me that filing too many minor complaints might be seen as bad faith. I could have stopped after the first confrontation. I could have left the petty stuff alone. I didn't. I wanted to break him completely. I admit that. I wasn't charged, but I was given a stern warning. I lost standing on the HOA board for misuse of the reporting system. I had to pay a fine for filing what they considered excessive neighborhood complaints. It stung, but I accepted it. I had pushed too hard. I let my anger lead me. Greg went to trial. The neighbors testified. The police laid out the timeline. The arson charge stuck. He got sentenced to 4 years. The day they took him away, I stood on my porch and watched. His eyes met mine as they loaded him into the cruiser. Pure hate. I didn't flinch. I just nodded once. After Greg was gone, peace returned. We rebuilt the shed. We hosted another party for Lily. It was small, quiet, perfect. No bounce house, no big show. Just family, friends, and a happy little girl. But I've changed. I learned revenge feels good for a moment. But it eats at you if you let it go too far. I protected my family, yes. But I also let my anger burn longer than it should have. Greg paid for what he did. But I paid too, in a different way. I won't make that mistake again.